Hello. So I'm trying something new because realistically, there's no reason for you to have to look at my ugly face if all I'm going to do is sit in my computer chair like a fat slob talking in front of a camera. So you're just going to get audio recordings from now on. And today, what I want to talk about, because I'm the one doing the talking, you're doing the listening. I hate when YouTubers just like sit there and be like, all right, today we're going to, like, no, there's no we in this. This is just me and you're listening, okay? Just not to sound narcissistic or arrogant, but that's what's happening, okay? There is no we in this, okay? The we can happen if you comment below and I engage with you, then there can be a we. But if I'm just sitting here, it's just a me. Okay? Now, on to what I wanted to talk about was a new change in YouTube's terms of service. Now, prior to this happening, I've always had a fairly cynical view of YouTube's terms of service to begin with. And not just YouTube's terms of service, but the terms of service of most social media sites, for virtually all social media sites, especially like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, the most. Because they don't have terms of service in the way most of us people might think of terms of service. Because their TOS doesn't matter. These sites, they do not even follow their own terms of service. To begin with, they apply them fairly arbitrarily. They do not enforce them uniformly. They don't even really try to enforce them all the time. They're very selective about doing so, and it's very obvious they will give certain users on their site special permissions to kind of just do whatever the fuck they want to do. Plain and simple. But my point being is their terms of service are a joke. Their terms of service is disgraceful. It's nothing. What YouTube's terms of service ought to be is just like one sentence that just says, we as YouTube can do whatever we want, whenever we want, because fuck you. Yeah, that should be YouTube's actual terms of service. That's far more accurate and far more descriptive of what they actually do and how they actually treat their users. So, I've been blabbering on here nearly 3 minutes. What changes am I referring to exactly? Well, to quote YouTube's, new terms of service word for word, let me quote them. YouTube may terminate your access or your Google account's access to all part of the service if YouTube believes, in its sole discretion, that provision of the service to you is no longer commercially viable. So basically, and this is where I've seen a lot of people point out the obvious contradiction in this, and the fact that many people, by the thousands, by the hundreds of thousands, by the millions, obviously, like their YouTube channels are not commercially viable because they're not able to monetize their videos. So of course YouTube's not making money off of them. And this is kind of where I was trying to say that YouTube's actual terms of service is they can just do whatever the fuck they want because fuck you. Because it doesn't really matter. I mean, they've been kicking people off their site left and right well before this change happened. Now this is just, them saying indefinitely they certainly will kick you off their site for, well, whatever. Whenever someone comes up as being, controversial in the future, if their channel happens to not also be profitable, well, bye-bye, just gone, off the site forever. So, and this is where I also get kind of pissed off at people who at any point in time advocate for deplatforming of virtually anyone. And most of the time when people do so, they're not finding people like, Onision, who are fucked up people and obviously use social media and YouTube for fucked up reasons, trying to fuck underage girls. No, they find people that they disagree with ideologically and say I want this person kicked off the site. And they're basically encouraging YouTube to do something that essentially YouTube wants to do anyways but is sometimes a little timid to do. I mean, obviously, like YouTube isn't going to go, purge the website Stalin style and kick off every account that is not financially viable or commercially viable. Sorry, like obviously they're not going to do that. They're going to apply this policy as arbitrarily and as unfairly as they always have applied all their policies. It's just bullshit. It's just a way of make it easier for YouTube to kick off people like who have smaller accounts like mine. It makes it much easier to kick off a lot of more insignificant people with very small followings. So, yeah, that's all that I really have to say is that this change is obviously bullshit. But the terms of service have always been bullshit. This isn't anything new. It's just maybe it's a wee bit unexpected. Well, I kind of anticipated this a little bit, that it was just only a matter of time before they would incorporate this into their terms of service. And I want to try to make a few predictions of more changes we might expect in the future to YouTube's website. I suspect in the future that they might charge people to be able to upload to their channel, and that might seem kind of bizarre. But from YouTube's perspective, it does cost them money to keep up channels that essentially, like, if you're someone with like thousands of videos who maybe, like, there are plenty of people that do not intentionally, or who do purposely do not monetize their videos, and that fundamentally does cost YouTube money, which is essentially why they have this policy in the first place, is try to kick off people who are costing them money. So I wouldn't be surprised if in the future they decide to try to present themselves as more benevolent by offering people the opportunity to pay some monthly or yearly fee so that they basically can continue posting YouTube videos in the future and keep their current uploads on YouTube and from being deleted. So I have a feeling that that is probably to come at some point. Probably not anytime soon. Probably in a year or two, maybe a couple of years. I hope it never comes to fruition. But at this point, I wouldn't be surprised. I remember a few years back, YouTube basically made it where you had to have certain small requirements to even be for your channel to be monetized in the first place. Like, you needed so many total video views, or an average of so many hours of your video viewed per month or something. So obviously trying to create some filter so that not every YouTube channel with 3 videos and 1,000 views gets monetized. So I wouldn't be surprised if in the future they potentially charge people to post videos on their site. So yeah, that's all. YouTube's bullshit. They've always been bullshit. But I'm still on this site because, why not? If you've made it this far on my video, thank you. I really appreciate it. I'll have to take up another moment of your time to bring your attention to a GoFundMe of a friend of mine named Galen Halcyon. He's been dealing with some very severe health issues as long as I've known him, at least the better part of the last decade. They've been absolutely debilitating towards him. I'm not going to waste too much of your time going through the details, as his GoFundMe does go pretty in-depth explaining the issues he has been dealing with on and off. They have been he's been basically bedridden a greater part of the time and absolutely unable to do anything. So I'd like to ask you to go at least check it out. If you can, donate a little bit. At least $1 can make a huge difference, believe it or not. And if you can't donate, then at least share it on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you're able to share it. Things like that can make a difference. So thank you.